So during the month of July, we've talked about several institutions that have been making big moves in recruiting, whether that's Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, and certainly the Miami Hurricanes, but there's an institution out there that we need to talk about. We just haven't had the opportunity yet, but today is a perfect chance. Because four-star wide receiver and blue-chip prospect Jaden Greathouse has made his collegiate decision, choosing Notre Dame over the likes of Texas, South Carolina, and the Oklahoma Sooners. And today, we need to talk about the insane run Marcus Freeman and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are going on and what this commitment means. Before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. Are you surprised that Greathouse chose Notre Dame? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed this content, like and comment down below. But having said all that, let's jump right into this, because this is a great win for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, a win that really sets them over the top, because this puts them back at the #1 recruiting class in the nation with 20 prospects, and we're halfway through the month of July. That is exactly where you want to be before the season starts, because once the season gets here, you don't have recruiting looming over your head as if you only had 5 to 7 prospects in this class in the month of July. If you had a low number of prospects, even if you loved the prospects you had, you would have substantially more work to do during the season. And with Marcus Freeman being a first-year head coach, he's already flexing his muscles that he's going to make sure his presence is felt on the trail. So much so that he's already locked up 20 prospects, has Notre Dame rolling into the season as the #1 recruiting class in the nation with more room in the class to go, but plenty of focus now being turned to the season at hand. This is a great start to Marcus Freeman's first year as a head coach. And really, if we look around the nation, something I talked about the other day, Dan Lanning is getting in major recruiting wins. Brent Venables at Oklahoma is getting in major recruiting wins. So being a first-year head coach may not have been the barrier so many people proposed it would be. As we look around, we're seeing first-year head coaches make their presence known. But what does this mean for Notre Dame in particular getting in Jaden Greathouse? And Jaden Greathouse is a phenomenal prospect, standing 6'2", 215 pounds per 24/7 Sports, and comes in as a top 150 player overall, regardless of position, and a top 20 wide receiver in the class. And if we look at every team involved, every single one of these institutions had a legitimate pitch. If we look at South Carolina, Shane Beamer has managed to cultivate excitement there, and with Spencer Rattler coming in, that's an institution we have to watch. Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners have been making waves on the recruiting trail, and we know the type of defensive coordinator Brent Venables has been, and early results as a head coach have been fantastic, but it's going to be very exciting to see what this season holds for the Oklahoma Sooners. And likewise for the Texas Longhorns. They're not coming off of the season they would like, but they have a phenomenally talented offensive room. The defense is a bit of a question mark, but the strides they make in year 2 are going to be very telling as to what this program can do. And on top of all of that, you have Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, who has had palpable excitement on the recruiting trail and has been making his presence felt. But at the end of the day, now we need to talk about what Jaden Greathouse brings to the table in terms of his own skill set, because he's a big-bodied wide receiver who's going to win plenty of 50-50 balls because he has a great understanding of how to use his frame in order to box out a defender. On top of that, one thing I think I really liked when I was watching his highlights is he's got a lot of acceleration, which helps him get separation after a break. That right there, I think, is what's going to be really conducive to his success on the next level, especially because he is a bigger framed wide receiver. But it's the acceleration in and out of the breaks where I think he's going to really be able to generate that separation that's going to allow him to maximize on his potential. And then if you're talking about the 50-50 balls, well, we've already talked about that. He has the ability to go up and get it. He's shown it multiple times, and he knows how to utilize his frame. So for the other institutions that didn't win this battle, what does it mean for all of them? The Texas Longhorns have been recruiting at an elite level, especially at the wide receiver room. They've gotten a lot in terms of talent, both in this recruiting class, last recruiting class, and out the transfer portal. So, though they would have loved to have kept Greathouse home, their room is looking really solid, and it's going to be interesting to see the moves they make outside of this. Similar things could be said about the Oklahoma Sooners. If we look at what Oklahoma did in the transfer portal, not only did they get guys with experience, but they have a lot in terms of eligibility left, which is a huge win in terms of transfer portal acquisitions. On top of that, they just pulled a top-tier wide receiver in Petaway, which they are very excited about, on top of getting wins last cycle. But the one thing that was really interesting on 24/7 Sports, when I was looking at who had offered Jaden Greathouse in the position they were at, when I actually clicked on the Oklahoma Sooners roster, it was only the tight ends. So I don't know if that was an error or if Oklahoma was really pushing Greathouse as a tight end, which I think he could be a super mismatch at the tight end position, but it is something interesting to see. And for South Carolina and Shane Beamer, this would have been a great win, but you're still in the process of establishing your brand, whereas these other three institutions have well-established brands. Even the Texas Longhorns, who may not be coming off of the season we think they should have had, there's still a ton of excitement around there because of the talent in those rooms. So though you would have loved to have won this battle, you're trending up in all the right areas, and I think once South Carolina can put together a positive season, we're really going to see things fall into place on the trail in a manner that they would like. So hop down to the comments, let me know what you think about this, because this is a fantastic win for Notre Dame as Marcus Freeman is just flexing his muscles on the recruiting trail. This is win number 20 for the class, putting them firmly at the #1 recruiting class in the nation with plenty of time left, and the season hasn't even started. And I always say, if you can be here before the season starts, well, now your focus is primarily the season, and you don't have to worry about recruiting to the same degree as some other institutions, which is an absolute win. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.